Ron Howard. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you to our media for staying with us. Apologies for the delay. I do believe the Connecticut group is running late with practice, so we're going to call an audible, and we're going to move directly to Minnesota's Maya Moore and Renee Montgomery. Both of whom have joined us early. Thanks, Maya. Thanks, Renee. Tony, let's queue it up immediately for questions.
Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, if you do have questions, you may queue up by pressing star followed by 1 at this time. Once again, for questions, press star 1. First question will come from Charles Hellman, Minnesota spokesman recorder. Please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, lady. Just want to know, Maya, if you could talk about being a part of the Watch Me Work campaign and how important that is, in your opinion, and to all the players' opinion, in promoting the game as it is, as opposed to other ways.
Well, I think the emphasis on admiring the work that we do on the court is awesome. Just because that's the heart and soul of who we are is the work we do on the court, and it's a really fun game to watch. So, but also just highlighting, I think for just the casual viewer. The work that we put in, all year round, and how hard it is to do what we do. So it kind of gets people excited for the kind of the training, aspect of our game, but also what we do on the court. Is really fun to watch, and hopefully it gets people excited to catch a game that they've never watched before.
And for Renee, if you could speak on just how much playing overseas this year helped you in terms of getting ready for this season.
Playing overseas is always interesting to change basically what kind of player you are. I'm more of a role player. I'm a role player here in Minnesota, and then when you go overseas, you have to switch that mode and have to basically take a lot more shots and be a lot more for the team. So overseas, it kind of I think overseas kind of makes it a little bit tougher in the sense that that the scouting report and everything is going to be about you. So you have to prepare for that and the physicality. And then when you come back to the WNBA, I slide back into my role. So I would say overseas kind of just toughens you up physically and mentally.
Thanks very much, lady.
Thank you. Our next question will come from Nina Mandel with USA Today. Go ahead.
Hey guys, this is for both of you. So even though, Renee, you were just talking about how overseas can be helpful, I know rest can also be useful too. And you guys had 3 of your 5 starters stay home during the off-season. How has that changed the first part of your season? And specifically for you, how has it changed how you thought through the first couple of games?
Hi, Nina. I'll go first. I think the older you get, it's more of a decision that you make. Some people choose to make a decision to not play in the WNBA and just play overseas, or some people make the choice to play in the WNBA. Play overseas and not the WNBA. I think it's just on preference and how your body feels. Playing year round, you get beat up a lot. So yes, the refs. When you're an American overseas, I feel like the refs tend to compensate for how much more athletic you are or more skilled you are. So the refs tend to make less calls for you. That's what it feels like for me personally overseas. So I think, if you've been beat up year-round and you feel like your body needs a rest, you have to always listen to your body as an athlete. So I think, it's a catch-22. Yes, it does sharpen you, but also, you do come to the WNBA season, you can be tired, nagging injuries. So there's always that aspect.
And for me, I guess, like Renee said, there's a lot that we pour out when we're playing pretty much year round. But I know I've definitely benefited just from kind of the mental rest of just slowing down and taking that break, so that I think I have more to give during this WNBA season because of that time where I kind of press pause and reset, and so I'm definitely really glad with my decision to take that extra rest this past off season. But that doesn't automatically mean you're going to be amazing in the WNBA season. It's a grind. It's a really super competitive league, and you have to go out and earn and improve it every day. So that's what my mindset is now, is just continuing to grind and do all the things necessary to put myself in a position to be the best I can for my team.
Just a quick follow-up. Does it give you guys any sort of advantage as a team to have more people in training camp, or at this point does it not really matter?
I think to have your team together as long as possible, obviously there are advantages to that. First of all, we basically had 2 solid weeks of training camp with pretty much our whole team. So there is definitely some advantage to that. And coming back, obviously, the longer you play, the more mentally and physically fatigued you are. And some teams is over there trying to win a championship. So there's always that dynamic where you come off of the high of winning a championship and then come back and have to start all over. Literally 2 days later, I saw some players. So there definitely is some advantage to having your team together longer.
Hey, great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Once again, if there's questions, you may queue up by pressing star followed by 1. Next in queue is Rob Knox with Women's Hoop Guru. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies. How you guys doing?
Good, thanks.
Good. I have a question for each one of you. I'll start with Renee first. Renee, was it? I know you've been in Minnesota for a little bit now. Was it? Can you just talk about your mindset, just having to adjust to your role with the Lynx? Obviously, you've done well with it. You've thrived in it. And what kind of message can it send to a younger player, knowing that somebody like you went to a team to just be able to fit in there? And so you can answer that, and then I'll come back to Maya.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure you're referring to that I could have had a starting role that I chose to have a bench role.
Right.
For me, this is my 9th season in the WNBA, and of course, starting is something that a lot of people we aspire to do, start and be the star teams. But I've had kind of a crazy WNBA career, and so different things started to be more valuable to me. Those things were to be on a team that functions at a high professional level, and that includes coaches and players and success. So I was fortunate when I was at Connecticut. We were pretty successful most of the time. And that's important to me. Like, winning is important to me. So if I can go to a team where I know or I feel that we have a great chance of winning, that was what was most important to me. So yeah, it was an adjustment, to play a smaller role in a sense in that aspect. But like I said, my priority list kind of changed up. So starting and maybe playing 7 or 8 more minutes a game somewhere else was not as important as being on a team that conducted themselves professionally.
Thank you.
Not that any team that I chose from does not conduct themselves professionally, but I knew what I was getting here in Minnesota, so that's why I chose to come back to something that I know.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And Maya, you guys off to another quick start. What's been the key for you guys early in the season, and more specifically for you? Like you said, you feel a little refreshed. What's been the difference?
Well, I think we've typically gotten off to quick starts because of how we approach training camp in general. I think we're 3-0, but frankly, compared to maybe some of our other starts in other years, we're not quite as sharp in our in who we want to be yet. So we've been winning games, but I still think there's a long way for us to go and cleaning up some areas defensively and just continuing to find that being even more efficient offensively. So. But again, the way we approach training camp, I think, shows and just our pace and our connectedness offensively sometimes. So I want to continue to find that rhythm. That's what seasons are, finding that rhythm. And tomorrow we're going to hopefully take a big step forward and putting 40 minutes together.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Next in queue is Lindsay Horsting with WNBA.com. Please go ahead.
Hi, ladies. My first question is for Renee. On media day, you mentioned you wanted to be consistent and bring energy to your team this season, and I was wondering how you feel that's been going so far. As far as the energy, I never have to have a measurement on that. That's just what I do. Like, bring energy is what I do. As far as consistency, obviously, I would have loved to make more shots. Like I said, it's 3 games in. It's still early. So me being someone who I know that I'm supposed to be a shooter, on this team, obviously want to make them all. But I would like to focus on making more shots. The energy is there, high level of energy and communication and focus. But yeah, I would like to make some more shots. And the next question is for both of you. Since 2012, you guys have extended your team's win streak to 20-0 in the month of May. What makes your team so good at establishing a rhythm so quickly in the season?
Well, like I said earlier, training camp for us, we take very seriously the time that we have together. So I think you're seeing an overflow of the quality of training camp that we have going into the start of our season. But I think at that point, we're just excited to have some games. And so we show that when we're playing on the court with our energy and focus on execution from the start.
Renee, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, like she said, energy. And I think that, a lot of teams try to ease into the season, basically find their stride, maybe midway through the season. And I think the focus on our team is like, once the first game hits, it's time to go. It's go time. So,
thank you, ladies.
thank you.
Thank you. Once again, for questions, you may queue up by pressing star followed by 1. Next in queue is James Ernest with the Grueling Truth. Please go ahead.
Maya, one of the big stars in the NBA playoffs had an off night last night, and everybody's flipping out. How do you prevent from having off nights?
Well, I don't think any player ever anticipates having an off night. When you get to that point in the season, it's really all about routine and wanting to maintain your routine and your preparation. But at the same time, you never know what's going on through the course of a day for a single person, for a team, how your body's feeling, how your mind's feeling. You're constantly trying to combat any distractions during playoff times, and so there's a number of things that could go wrong or could challenge your rhythm and your routine throughout the course of the day. And so sometimes you just miss shots. Sometimes things aren't clicking, but your ability to bounce back within the course of a game can oftentimes get you out of a slump. But again, sometimes you can do everything that you feel like you can do in the moment, and the other teams are obviously keying in on the star players, and so you're not just combating your own issues, but the team trying to shut you down. So, there's no magic formula, but at that point in the season, you already have a routine down, and you're just trying to stick to it.
If you had a teammate that had an off night, how would you help them?
Well, it depends on what you mean by off night. There's so many ways that you can measure success and being off. For me, I never give myself an excuse to have an off night because there's so many ways that I can impact the game. Some players may not have as many opportunities or gifts to impact the game, but some of us can impact the game by more than just scoring the basketball. You can set great screens. You can mentally continue to be sharp and engaged. You can get steals. You can get rebounds. And so those are a series of the ways I try to get myself back into a groove or a rhythm and just try to shoot every shot that I can with confidence and freedom. So that's generally how I try to get myself going. If things aren't initially working, is finding other little ways to contribute to the game.
Thank you. I have one for
Thank
Renee.
you. Our next question will come from Jim Fuller with the New Haven Register. Please go ahead.
Yes, Maya, at this point, your thoughts on the young core, some you guys got back last year, and this year, Morgan Johnson, Courtney Williams, John-Claude Jones all scoring in double figures as second-year players. What impresses you about those young players?
confidence. You know, this is going to third year, third year for some of the players, fourth year, and the confidence is there. The understanding of who they are in certain positions on the floor and what they can do is starting to really settle in. So that's when a player is most dangerous, is when they're playing with energy and playing with confidence. And so I think you're seeing that connection come together for players like that. And it's just a matter of you got to outwork your opponent, when they're playing with confidence and energy, and just try to make it really hard for them to get to their sweet spots.
What about John Jones? 6'6", he can shoot threes, also leads the league in rebounding. What are your thoughts on how well she's playing?
Yeah, she uses her size to get her shots off, and she uses her size to get to those boards. She's dangerous down by the rim, and she's really embracing that with how she's crashing the offensive glass. So have to be super mindful of her because she's being very intentional about getting to those boards.
Thank you. Our next question will come from China Robinson. Please go ahead.
Hey, Maya. Hey, Renee. How y'all doing?
Hey, Renee.
Hey. One question for each of you. Renee, for you, I would just like to know, Kinetic obviously had you guys number a little bit last year, so just kind of what is it that they do that gave you guys some trouble? And then for Maya, you won a championship without Sylvia, you won a championship with her. Just the difference for your overall team and maybe how having Sylvia has impacted your play.
Connecticut, they're a relentless team. So whether you're up 10, whether they're down 10, it doesn't matter to Connecticut. They're just going to play hard at all times. And teams like that, those scrappy teams, those are always hard teams to play against in a sense that, you can't give them a knockout blow and think they're going to just stay down, or you can't go on, sometimes, you can't go on a run and expect them to fold. They're always just going to keep fighting and keep being relentless on the boards. Like they said before, John Paul Jones is averaging 6.5 offensive rebounds. They're just going to always be relentless. So even if their shots are falling, they have people going on the boards. And, even if their offense isn't good, they're going to pick up their defense to try to get some steals and create some easy points off a turnover. So teams like that are hard to play against because they always find a way. Thank you. And Maya?
Yeah, I think having Sylvia changes so many things. She's a traditional center as far as she wants to score in the paint, and that's great for us because teams have to pay attention to her. So it kind of opens things up, and I think the more Syl and I play together, the more Wayne and Syl get together. It creates those deadly pick and roll combos, which is really fun. It's fun to watch. Wade try to pick people apart in that pick and roll with Syl, and then when I'm doing my thing and trying to get to the rim, and someone has to help on me, Syl and I are connecting even more now that we've been playing together for one more year. So it's really been fun to watch that. I think one of the reasons my assists are going up is because I'm getting it to an open post player who's by the rim. And getting layups. So she's somebody that rebounds the basketball relentlessly. She uses energy because she wants to get in one. And she's starting to finish more and more through the contact. And, it's a shot blocker in that back line. So she just adds so many things that, and she just brings energy. She wants to be here. She wants to play. She enjoys our team. And so she's only added just that much more. It's something you have to pay attention to, and right now she's in a really good place. So just excited to continue to watch her tap out her potential here in Minnesota.
And one more follow-up to that on Sylvia. I know Cheryl is asking for more from her this year. What has that process been like from your seat so far this year, and where could we maybe see that showing up on the floor?
I think for both Syl and I, but she even just wanted to challenge us in just details, all the little things that make us even more efficient And so just continuing to, whether it's the fundamentals of, positioning on post-ups or, different go-to moves or instincts when it comes to finishing around the rim, continuing to be sharp mentally on all of our plays and knowing where we're supposed to be on the floor. So I think you're going to see Phil be able to really get over the hump. Where maybe in times past there might have been a little bit of a hump that she's come up against, and now I think this year you're going to see her getting over those humps more often and quicker.
Thank you. Our next question will come from Michelle Vopel with ESPN.com. Please go ahead.
Hi, Maya and Renee. I was wondering if I could just ask you both to answer the same question, and it's not necessarily a WNBA question, but more of a women's sports question. We're coming up on the 45th anniversary of Title IX in June, and it strikes me that even after all these years, you still have programs or colleges where women's sports exists, but it doesn't really feel like it's respected or as much a part of the athletic department. You guys obviously went to one of the most successful programs in the history of women's sports in any sport. I wonder if you could reflect on that, what it felt like, and especially now as you look back on it, that women's sports really mattered at Connecticut. And then if you guys have experiences with teammates who say, yeah, it didn't where we went.
Being at Connecticut, for UConn, I would say that, when we talk about equality, we took charter flights the same as the men. We literally, I can't think of any difference that we had that the men, I can't think of one thing, because, like I said, we took charter flights. They treated us with the utmost respect as well as the men's side. It's not like we didn't have to give them in the court at any times. Like, we split the practice time. We went 3 to 5 one day, and they had to go 5 to 7 the next, and it would flip-flop. It wasn't like we always had to have the bad time. So, yeah, being at UConn was a luxury that I do understand that a lot of programs do not have. Obviously, I wish they could. Even being here in Minnesota, there's a parity with our WNBA team as well as our NBA team here. So it's fortunate, and I understand that all teams don't have that, and I know that it's growing and women's basketball is growing. So, progress. We just always have to, that's why the campaign is Watch Me Work. We always have to make people aware of, look, we're doing something great here, and it deserves parity.
I think obviously you have to have a good product if you're going to sell anything or market anything, and because of the foundation set from the shoulders of the players that we stood on and the coaching staff of Connecticut, we went into a program that was known for talent, and so people show up. But I think one of the big keys with making something matter is marketing. If you want to put in the time, the effort, the creativity to market something that you believe in, I think you'll see the results. I think the growth of women's basketball, collegiately and professionally, you can obviously see a direct correlation between exposure and growth. I hear over and over again, we came to our first WNBA game and we had an amazing time, and now we're season ticket holders. They're exposed to the game, they come to the game, they find out that there's a team in their city, and they have a chance to fall in love with the game. And so the NCAA has been, over the years, promoting the fact that they give men and women opportunities to compete, get an education, and so I can go to college and get a scholarship and play a sport and get an education because I knew about it. And so first you have to get those opportunities, and you have to tell people about the opportunities and creatively get the word out. So I'm a beneficiary of Title IX. My life is completely different because of it, because I saw women playing on TV when I was in middle school in Metro Atlanta, watching the UGA Bulldogs playing, watching the UConn Huskies playing, watching Tennessee play, watching Duke play, and it's not a coincidence that I fell in love with the game because I saw them playing and I had an opportunity to go watch them. So that's why I'm excited on the road we're on. We're continuing to, I think, invest in marketing and hoping it continues to increase, and that's how your value goes up when people see something valuable in front of them.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll turn the conference back over to Mr. Howard.